Grateful you could join us. Now, former Deputy Education Minister and lead sponsor of the anti-LGBTQ bill, John Ntimfordjour, has accused the NDC government of covertly introducing LGBTQ-related content into Ghana's school curriculum, warning that the move undermines public trust and parliamentary oversight. They are seeing South MP criticized the printing and distribution of teacher manuals and other teaching and learning materials to schools, which he claims contain content promoting the LGBTQ agenda. Well, Ntimfordjour alleged that the NDC has mischievously and deliberately smuggled LGBTQ agenda into the curriculum, despite what he described as the party's public posture of opposing LGBTQ-related issues.
He has diabolically smuggled content of LGBT promotion agenda into teachers' manual of physical education and health elective subjects for year 2. In fact, all between 2017 and 2024, all the curriculum reforms we undertook never included any portion related to LGBT. As a matter of fact, we ensured that they were in line with our values and our conservative family principles as a country and our constitution. And so we just woke up to NDC printing 2025 versions of the physical education health teacher manuals in hard copy, distributed them to various schools, and the definition of gender, the definition of sexual rights and identity and such key terminologies have been completely changed from what was approved, and new introductions that are very palpable expressions of LGBT propagation and promotion, and rather in a very absurd manner, one expression in the text.
The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment has meanwhile ordered all teachers to return hard copies of the SHS Physical Education and Health Manual immediately. The directive follows concerns over a controversial definition of gender identity in the manual. Naka Board Chair Professor Vincent Asamfo said a full curriculum review is underway to ensure it reflects Ghanaian values while maintaining educational standards.
How it went through the process, unfortunately, we could teach us one more the child, something we can talk about. But Yaminsha de Akunya better on there, Sacremo curriculum no. And in the process, it will be done. I have instructed my Director General that they should issue a statement to clarify and to make the point that bit, and in fact, it is not only that bit, the whole section, that definition of terms, I just went through before your call came for the interview. I think we'll have to have a second look at that whole definition of terms section on your gender section on continue.
Well, away from that, the Energy Ministry is disputing claims that the Electricity Company of Ghana and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company are being privatized, clarifying that the government only intends to open limited aspects of the operations to private sector participation. The ministry spokesperson Richard Roxon says, contrary to assertions by the Trade Union Congress and the Public Utility Workers Union of Ghana, government is ready to engage the leadership of the group on the proposed private participation framework. The comment follows calls by TUC and POO for a suspension of any private sector involvement in ECG and NETCO operations. The unions argue that recent revenue gains at ECG and improved performance at NETCO show the utilities can be turned around without privatization if workers are adequately supported and managed, and management is held to clear enforceable targets. My colleague Colin Frimpong has more in the following report.
Solidarity forever for the youth. At a press conference at the Trade Union Congress, TUC General Secretary Joshua Ansah said ECG's average monthly revenue has surged from about 900 million Ghana cedis to nearly 1.7 billion Ghana cedis, a rise of almost 90% in just 6 months. He added that NETCO has also cut its losses by around 8%, despite most of its customers being on lifeline tariffs, showing that the utilities can be successfully turned around without private sector participation.
Following extensive tripartite engagements involving the Public Utility Workers Union PU, representing staff of UCG, management of UCG, and the Minister of Energy and Green Transition, a 6-month turnaround program was agreed upon and implemented from July to December 2025. The result of the turnaround program has been phenomenal. Verified performance data from this turnaround program indicate that UCG's average monthly revenue collection increased from approximately 900 million Ghana cedis to a record of 1.75 billion. Now, the turnaround program by NETCO. The Northern Electricity Distribution Company, NETCO, has faced significant challenges related to high distribution losses and inadequate revenue collection over the years. The northern area, particularly Tamale Township, records exceptionally high distribution losses, averaging about 46%. In the last 1 year, this exceptionally high distribution losses have been slashed from 47.32% in November 2024 to 39% in November 2025.
The unions noted that these gains have already brought significant sector-wide benefits, including more regular payment to power producers and improved stability in electricity supply, reducing the repeated threats by independent power producers to shut down plants over debts.
This remarkable improvement in revenue collection has ensured that power generators are now paid regularly, avoiding instances where independent power producers threaten or actually shut down their production plants in projects of unpaid arrears for the benefit of Ghanaians.
Calling for an immediate halt to all privatization plans, the TUC and PU urged an extension of the current turnaround program with clearer deliverables for management and stronger oversight from state regulators.
The 6 months management union turnaround program must be extended and reviewed comprehensively to determine additional measures needed to scale and sustain the success made so far. Thank you. 2, while the review of the turnaround program is underway, we urge government to halt all actions toward privatization of UCG and NETCO. 3, in keeping with TUC's long-standing opposition to privatization of state-owned enterprises, we propose the following additional measures. A stakeholder board for UCG and NETCO that brings the insight and expertise of the major think tanks and social groups, including labor, and this will provide the necessary checks and balances for efficiency. B, the MDs of UCG and NETCO should be given clear deliverables and be held to straight account on those deliverables.
Reporting for JoyNews, I am Collins Frimpong.
We can now hear from spokesperson for the Energy Ministry, Richmond Roxon, who says the government does not intend to privatize ECG and NETCO as asserted by TUC and PU.
Does not intend to sell ECG. The government does not intend to privatize ECG. And I don't want to believe it's a deliberate attempt to push that narrative out there. Because what Cabinet approved last year, April, was that we're going to have private sector participation in some aspect of ECG's operations, and that is what has been. And so any attempt to deliberately mislead the public or misrepresent facts will not be fair and will be in bad faith. The Ministry of Energy and Green Transition, which has been at the heart of the discussions with PU and TUC, has always been very, very accommodating and has always been engaging. If you ask PU themselves, at every point in time, the ministry has engaged them on the processes, on this PSP process.
Well, let's do some politics tonight. Founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, has criticized the party's decision to initiate expulsion processes against former Minister for Environment, Science and Innovation, Professor Kpandai Frimpong Boateng, describing the move as misguided and out of touch with realities on the ground. According to him, the leadership's approach contradicts earlier commitment to reconcile and unite divided factions, instead exposing a growing disconnect between party executives and the grassroots. The decision follows remarks by Professor Frimpong Boateng in an interview on Channel 1 TV, in which he criticized the party's current state and openly distanced himself from its membership.
The present MPP is not MPP, it's fake.
What?
Yeah. What I see now, it is not the MPP I used to.
But the question still stands. Do you still consider yourself a member of the MPP?
Not the fake one.
So which one is the real one?
The real one is there. It's a virtual thing, and the members are there in the background.
You think that...
Look at how they elected their last flag bearer, twist the arms of weak and...
This is for the 2024 election?
Yes. Twist people's arms, bribing delegates and intimidating others to get a flag bearer. This is the beginning of corruption. And this should not be allowed in any serious situation or any serious party. And there were issues, we lost the elections badly, and we did not deal with the issues that led to the losses, and then we still want to go in there, and I think it would be a train wreck.
While the NPP has triggered processes to expel Professor Frimpong Boateng from the party, on your screens now is a statement signed by the General Secretary, Justin Kodia Frimpong. It reads, the New Patriotic Party has taken due notice of comments made by Professor Kpandai Frimpong Boateng during an interview on Channel 1 TV on Monday, 12 January 2026, in which he described the party as a, quote, fake party, unquote, and further stated that he no longer considered himself a member of the party. In the same interview, Professor Frimpong Boateng made additional disparaging remarks about the party and alleged, among other things, that the party's 2023 presidential primary was rigged in favor of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the NPP's presidential candidate for the 2024 general elections. The party unequivocally rejects Professor Frimpong Boateng's unfortunate characterization of the NPP and firmly denies his baseless, unsubstantiated allegations against and regarding the conduct of the 2023 presidential primary. The said primary has been widely acknowledged by all candidates who participated, as well as well-meaning members of the party, as having been conducted in a free, fair, transparent and credible manner, faithfully reflecting the will of party delegates. The New Patriotic Party views the conduct and utterances of Professor Kpandai Frimpong Boateng as highly reprehensible and inimical to the values, unity and integrity of the party. Consequently, the party has revoked the relevant provisions of its constitutions, invoked the relevant provisions of its constitution to commence the necessary processes to expel him from the party. They put out this statement earlier.
Well, we cannot hear from Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo, a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, who has slammed the party's decision to pursue the expulsion of former Environment, Science and Innovation Minister Frimpong Boateng, describing the move as misguided and out of touch with grassroots realities.
What the party should have done is to invite him for a chat. But the way the girls should strict, that the leadership of the party knew, if we are not careful, will disperse the party members. A party that has just come out of elections where we have failed somebody across the nation. You don't need members that are standing members like that. Indeed, what we should have done right from the word go, and I said it on television, we should have organized the grassroots, let them know where our mistakes were. and then rebuild the party. Because there are a lot of people who have similar views, just like Martin has got in the party.
But the New Patriotic Party insists it has acted appropriately. Here's the Deputy General Secretary Haruna Muhammad speaking earlier on the polls.
When water runs into the forest, definitely some of the trees will come down. He's not interested. So there's no need in the drive towards unity, persons who want to stand on the walls or on the benches or the trenches and want to speak ill about the party should be pleaded on that particular vote. He just spoke his mind yesterday. How do you go to tell him? Look at what he said. The party's constitution is clear. You cannot misconduct yourself and put the party name into disrepute. How do you describe the party as fake? This is unacceptable. You cannot do that. And upon that, you said you no longer consider yourself. So if you don't no longer consider yourself as a member of the party needs numbers, but we need positive numbers, not negative numbers. He has served the period he wants to serve, and he doesn't want to be there. We'll grant him that wish.
Still on politics, the legal teams of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, and the National Democratic Congress, NDC, have both expressed confidence of victory after the Supreme Court adjourned its ruling on Matthew Nyendam's certiorari application, challenging the Tamale High Court's decision to January 28, 2025. The NPP's 2024 parliamentary candidate for Kpandai, Matthew Nyendam, filed the application, contested the decision of the Tamale High Court, which annulled the hearing argument from all parties in court today. The 5-member panel, led by Justice Gabriel Puaman, adjourned the case and fixed January 28 for the ruling. Fatau Baiga has more from the court.
A 5-member Supreme Court panel led by Justice Gabriel Puaman heard arguments on the application seeking to quash the November 24, 2025 judgment of the Tamale High Court in the Kpandai parliamentary election dispute. Counsel for the applicant, Gary Nemako Mafo, argued that the High Court erred in assuming jurisdiction over the election petition, insisting it was filed outside the constitutionally required 21-day period after the Electoral Commission gazetted the results on December 24, 2024. He maintained that the court acted beyond a statutory mandate under Article 99 of the Constitution. Opposing the application and her arguments in court, lead counsel for Ensala Wakpal, Sika Abla Ado, contended that the results were regazetted on January 6, 2025, making the January 25 petition valid and within time. Lawyer for the Electoral Commission, Justin Amanivo, confirmed that multiple gazette notices were issued explaining the reflected different batches of constituencies published at different times. The 5-member bench listened to the arguments of all the parties and set January 28 for the ruling. Reacting to the court's proceedings, Majority Chief Whip and South Dayi MP Roxanne Nelson Dafiamukbo said the NDC remains confident of victory.
I want to urge everyone to stay calm. Our people in Kpandai should keep working. As for us, we keep working. They should keep working for victory beacons.
Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC, Rashid Tanko Computer, noted that the party will continue vigorous campaigning in the constituency ahead of the court's ruling.
Very much confidence. We are even urging on our supporters to continue the campaign. What I've seen today tells me that the rerun will come.
It will.
It will come. It's going to come. And we are going to win the rerun.
Why do you say that?
Oh, do you go to Sahara Desert to fish?
No.
You don't send nets to Sahara Desert for fishing. That's what they are doing. You saw it. You saw what they were doing in the court. We all sat through it. We are going to win this matter.
For lead counsel of the applicant, Gary Nemakomafo, they only await the final determination of the court.
We made our case to the court. We await the judgment on the 28th of January 2026. That's all. 2026. That's all.
The January 28 ruling will determine whether Matthew Nyendam retains his parliamentary seat or whether a rerun will be conducted in Kpandai, either across all 152 polling stations or limited to the 41 disputed polling stations. For Joy News, Fatau Bayaga, Supreme Court, Accra.
You're still watching JoyNews Prime. We're back with more after this quick turn. Please stay with us.
Welcome back, and thank you for staying with us here on JoyNews Prime. To some other stories.
Residents in Medie along the Pokwasi-Nsawam Highway construction zone are being forced to evacuate after years of flooding caused by blockage and drainage system problems. The flooding is as a result of obstructed natural waterways from ongoing construction, leaving homes and streets submerged. Residents say repeated appeals to authorities have gone unanswered. My colleague Adobe Asare was there. She filed this report.
Medie is a town struggling with persistent water stagnation due to the absence of a proper drainage system. Mosquito infestation and waterborne diseases have become a daily reality for residents. This is not a naturally waterlogged area, but a community deprived of functional waterways, preventing rainwater and liquid waste from flowing freely. Over the years, stagnant water has made living conditions unbearable, forcing many residents to abandon their homes.
This is a deserted house taken over by weeds. Across the compound are sacks filled with sand serving as a bridge for the neighbor behind this house to be able to get through. People do not live in this house not just because they evacuated, but because they died. 2 years ago, a flooding that occurred in the area claimed the life of a 3-month-old baby. Some months afterwards, the baby's parents also died due to an infection caused by the stagnant water.
Nana Bedu is a landlord. He says he can no longer rent out rooms in his house because of the situation.
We've really struggled going back and forth. We really expected them to construct a drainage system for us. I told to save to build this house, but look at how water is destroying it. We really plead with authorities to come to our aid.
Joseph Akoto, a resident of Medie, describes the worsening conditions and appeals to authorities to intervene.
So we are pleading, we know the government is a listening government, and we are pleading to his aid to come to our aid and help us.
The assemblyman for the area, Joseph Nyankwa, says several efforts to resolve the problem have failed. He is calling for the construction of a proper drainage system to bring relief to the community.
Me being an assembly member, I have written to feeder roads and urban roads for them to come to our aid with this drainage system, because Medie is a community that is facing serious flooding issue. So we are appealing with them to come to our aid. Other than that, people will continue to suffer. People have lost their properties due to this flooding. So we are pleading with them to come to our end and construct a proper drainage system for us.
While some residents have been able to relocate, those without the means to leave remain trapped in these harsh conditions, battling mosquitoes and infections daily. For Joy News, Adobe Asare, Medie.
Away from that, 2 people, a 70-year-old and a 50-year-old, lost their lives in separate fire outbreaks in Changli and Moshi Zongo in the northern region last year. The Northern Regional Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service, Hudu Baba, disclosed this, highlighting the impact of fire incidents in the region. Speaking in an interview with Joy News, he said the region recorded a total of 377 fires in 2025. There's more in the following report.
The Harmattan season is a period when fire tends to spread rapidly, causing significant damage to properties in the northern region. In December and January alone, a staggering 117 fires were recorded, which the fire service said is alarming. Speaking in an interview with Joy News, Public Relations Officer of the Fire Service, Assistant Divisional Officer Grade 1, Baba Hudu, said the number of fires recorded was worrying.
If we look at this number of fires, the property that was lost to the fire amounted to 159 billion 81 million 662 Ghana cedis. And so, however, we think that this is outrageous in the sense that one fire can cause a lot of devastation, including lives and property. And so it is a worry to the Ghana National Fire Service. Notwithstanding that, the fire service has also been able to salvage a lot more properties from the fire wounds that was recorded under this period. For instance, 150,629,102,789 Ghana cedis was saved by the Ghana National Fire Service under this period. Regrettably, we lost 2 lives as a result of the fire.
He also expressed concerns over prank emergency calls, stating that it's a huge challenge for the service diverting resources from genuine emergencies.
The rate of prank calls, the rate at which the public prank the emergency lines is very worrisome. Now, a period under review recorded 1,400 prank emergency calls in a single week. You can imagine. Now, when you multiply 1,400 by 7 alone, how many prank calls will you receive? Now, do that by 12 months, which will be 67,200 prank calls. So that is what we are facing.
Let's head now to the Volta region. The road network of South Dayi district in the Volta region is expected to see a facelift following the awarding of contracts to various firms under the Big Push project. Approximately 24 kilometers of feeder roads in the district have been awarded and are currently under construction, while an additional 40 kilometers will be packaged and awarded for construction under the second phase of the road rehabilitation project. There's more in the following report by Fred Kwame Asare.
South Dayi and Majority Chief Whip Roxanne Nelson Dafiamekpo led officials of the Ghana Highways Authority to inspect the progress of work on the 17.7 kilometers Todo-Mekpali-Medie roads. The team also inspected works on the 6.3 kilometers of roads in the Germany Township, which would see the clearing of some structures erected in areas demarcated for roads. Mr. Dafiamekpo appreciated the progress of work by Messiah Senam Ghana Limited and emphasized the significant contribution of good roads to economic development.
The transformation. This is what we call transformation. Everybody wants his neighborhood transformed. And when the neighborhoods are transformed, he has, in development studies, we call them growth poles. They have their way of attracting other developmental projects themselves. When there's a good road, tourism facilities spring up. People build hotels, they build restaurants, they build guest houses, they build good hospitals because the roads are in a good shape. So
it is disclosed that some 40 kilometers of road networks in the district would also be awarded under the second phase of the Big Push project.
We are doing. So the phase 2 of this project will be Chate to Chibu, 5 kilometers. Then Kpeve to Kpeve Tonu, that is the Kpeve headwaters, also 5 kilometers. Then we'll do a Num to Jake, it's also 5 kilometers. And then Gemenia JB. So, you know, we are going to do then Peki Town roads, and then Abui Chita, so, and then 2 town roads, Dugan town roads, Atoklokpo, Chinese road, Todoma itself, the Palace road for Togwe Yeku, then Peki Town roads about 10 kilometers in all. So we are going to have another 40 kilometers of the phase 2. This is 24 kilometers, but the phase 2 will be about 40 kilometers.
The district chief executive for South Dayi, stressed the government's promise to open up the country with good road networks.
And to thank the government, His Excellency the President, and the good people of South Dayi for their patience. This road has been in a terrible situation for a long time now, like my MP said. But thank God, with the coming of GM, just barely a year ago, we have all seen what has been done so far. I want to commend the contractor. I've always been with them. They are doing a good job. And it's our prayer that by the close of this year, the people of South Dayi will heave a sigh of relief for the construction of this road.
Well, let's go back to our earlier story where concerns have been raised about the LGBTQ issues finding its way into the senior high school curriculum. Well, the Ministry of Education and Naka have actually withdrawn a senior high school teacher manual containing the controversial section on gender identity, saying it did not reflect Ghanaian values. They emphasized that the national curriculum contains no LGBTQ content, and a revised manual is now available online. Here's what the statement actually says.
Have noted with concern recent allegations regarding the introduction of LGBTQ-related content into Ghana's senior high school curriculum. Naka reiterates in the strongest terms that no such content exists within the approved national curriculum. It goes on to state that it is essential to clarify that the national curriculum and teacher support materials serve district functions. The curriculum is the official policy document defining the mandatory areas of study for learners. In contrast, the teacher manual are supplementary instructional resources designed to provide pedagogical guidance to teachers. These manuals do not constitute the curriculum itself, and their use is optional. Teachers may deliver the approved curriculum without relying on these specific guides.
Well, the statement goes on to tell us the manual development and timelines, and it says that the development of the secondary education curriculum is a dynamic process characterized by rigorous technical review and broad stakeholder consultation. And then they said that they wish to clarify the following milestone. 1, a new curriculum was introduced at the SHS level in the 2024-2025 academic year. 2, for the first time in the history of Ghana, a decision was taken for teacher manuals to be developed to aid teachers in the implementation of the new curriculum. 3, Naka therefore empaneled subject-specific writing teams in collaboration with Transforming Teacher Education and Learning to develop the manuals in 2024. 4, following a comprehensive internal review, Naka determined that the specific definition of quote-unquote gender identity contained within the 2-year physical education and health elective teacher manual for high or senior high schools was not reflective of Ghanaian culture, norms, and values.
Away from that, there are calls for investigations and prosecution of the former director of Kpandai Port, who also served as acting chief executive officer of the Tema shipyard. The calls stem from details in the Auditor General's report, which cites him for paying $500,000 to the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority as rent under questionable circumstances in 2024. James Aveji has details from the Public Accounts Committee hearing in the following report.
According to the Auditor General's report, the PSC Tema Shipyard owed its landlord, the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, $6.68 million as rent accumulation from 1997 to 2024, part of which the former CEO of the shipyard, who also doubled as director of the controversial Kpandai Port, used $500,000 of the company's money to pay part of in 2024. But the auditors flagged the payment on grounds that there are no available documents backing the so-called landlord-tenant agreement between the two entities. This is why member of the committee, Eric Edemagbana, is calling for further investigation and retrieval of the money.
I think that these are serious issues, because if a staff on secondment from GPHA is the one making the payments back to GPHA, there are also issues of conflict of interest. The same person was acting as chief executive officer for the non-existent Keta port. And then these are very serious issues that I think we need to get into the issues and get him to answer. What documents inform the payment, and if possible, if there is any wrongdoing on the part of any individual, the person needs to be punished for it.
Managers of the shipyard have promised to go look further into the matter. Meanwhile, the company has also been cited for inability to enforce a 2023 court judgment to retrieve some $470,000 from some 6 shipping defaulting companies. When the Volta Lake Transport Company appeared before the committee, Acting Managing Director Angela Oforiwa Alowute explained why they are unable to fix the ferry in Afram Plains, which broke down.
We don't even, we are unable to find the parts at times. Most often you have to go and mend. I mean, it's been a hassle. Even those vessels currently are all running on one engine, one genset. We really need help, as the minister said. So this is why our operational cost is very high.
The Transport Minister, Bukari Nikpe, however, promised that a challenge will be addressed.
Our correspondent to all the agents that supply experts, they are telling us that they are on daily basis in search. And I want to say that if we get it today, we will not waste time in keeping those vessels docked at the lakes. We will get it repaired and it will start functioning again. The difficulty is how to get the parts.
Chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee, Abina Osasari, explained why some ministries like the Agric Ministry couldn't appear before the committee despite early advertisement.
One has to do with the Ministry of Agric. The minister was there for a while and had an engagement, and so he had to leave. And you know, with these things, you will need the policy maker to be there in addition to the technical people. And then the other one are bits of other reports that we ought to complete. But certainly we will complete those 2 reports and clear those reports out of the way. For the others, we'll have to do it outside Accra.
Today's sitting brings to an end the 2-day hearing of the Public Accounts Committee here in Parliament, but the committee will proceed to do the regional hearings across the country, and the final report will be presented before Parliament when the House resumes in the next few weeks. For ministries like Energy, Agric and others were built to appear before the committee, but were not able to. The understanding we get is that they will be presenting a written response to the committee on their infractions. From the Public Accounts Committee here in Parliament, I am James Savage for Joy News.
Well, away from Parliament, Ghana is moving to scale up its health security systems as it targets an upgrade from the World Health Organization WHO Level 3 preparedness rating, following findings from WHO-led assessment that highlighted both progress made and critical gaps in the country's readiness to respond to public health emergencies. The latest findings were disclosed at the opening of a 3-day workshop in Accra. Rodalyn Abensa has more in the following report.
Held under the theme Prioritization Workshop on the National Action Plan for Health Security, the workshop brought together key health sector stakeholders to review preparedness levels and agree on priority actions to strengthen the country's response systems. Speaking in an interview, Infectious Hazard Management Officer at the World Health Organization, Patrick Avevo, revealed that of the 90 technical areas assessed in Ghana's latest joint external evaluation, about 50% are now at level 3, up from 40% in the previous evaluation.
We have seen improvement across a lot of the technical areas. When we look back in the 2017 JEU, so there are 5 levels of capacities, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, and then level 5. We see now that about 50% of the 19 technical areas are level 3, compared to about 40% in the past JEE. So we've seen an improvement, but when you think about it, that there are 5 levels and 50% of our technical areas are in level 3, it tells you there's still more room for us to improve.
Patrick Avevo revealed that despite notable improvements across several technical areas, significant gaps remain, prompting the launch of a 5-year national action plan to advance Ghana's capacities toward 4 and 5.
But in the past, we've seen some lapses in this, which we hope that we can be able to work with the government to strengthen. So for each of the 19 technical areas, we are expected to look at where we are now and over the next 5 years, project where we want to get to, and then using the framework of the assessment document, determine that we need to implement 1, 2, 3 to get to a certain level. So they are very varied depending on the technical areas. If we're able to do this, we'll be able to, for example, move from level 1 to level 3 or 4. So those are some of the things that we hope to see on the ground.
The